So yes and no. I did go over it on my other channel. It was one of the first things that we went over, and I'll have that other account tagged. We went over it in the 1920s encyclopedia. I didn't have this set then, so let's go ahead and go over it. This is the Chambers Encyclopedia from the 1890s, which is technically like they had a couple people had been there, but nobody had like explored it, right? Antarctica, one of the names given to the great continent believed to lie round the South Pole, for which the name Magellanica has also been proposed, while some would extend the name Victoria Land given to a part of it to the whole. Recent discussions at geographical societies and congresses, notably at the Geographical Congress in London in 1895, have conferred on the world the importance of a regular scientific expedition to solve the innumerable problems physical, geographical, geological, and biological hidden under Antarctic snow and ice. Magnetic science might especially be expected to benefit by such a systematic expedition, to which the Australian governments are favorably disposed. Recent voyages have been mainly those of whalers, ill-equipped for observations such as that of the Antarctic in 1894-95. Described by Borchgrevink at the Geographical Congress in 1895 when a latitude of 74 degrees south was reached, landings made, and rocks and vegetation brought back. The rocks dredged at various times in coastal waters seem to prove that the land is continental, not a mere archipelago. See Antarctic Ocean, continent. Okay, Antarctic Ocean. The ocean situated about or within the Antarctic Circle. The Great Southern Ocean is a part of the ocean which surrounds the world in one continuous band between the latitude of 40 degrees south and the Antarctic Circle. This band is only partially interrupted by the southern prolongation of South America. The northern portions of this band are often called the South Atlantic, South Indian, and South Pacific, while the southern portions are usually called the Antarctic Ocean. The average depth of the continuous ocean which surrounds South Polar land is about 2 miles. It gradually shoals towards Antarctic land, which in some places is met with a short distance between the Antarctic Circle. The Challenger found 1,800 fathoms near the Antarctic Circle south of Kerguelen, but Ross records a much greater depth in the same latitude south of the Sandwich Group. Only 3 navigators, Cook, Waddell, and Ross, have crossed the 70th parallel south. Of several other expeditions that have crossed the Atlantic Circle, the most notable was the Challenger in 1874, the only steam vessel that had visited these seas. The majority of Antarctic voyagers have discovered land south of the 60th parallel. Cook in 71 degrees south and 107 degrees west. Bellingshausen discovered Peter Island and Alexander Land. De Rouville discovered Adélie Land. Wilkes found land extending from the 100th to the 160th meridian of east long between the parallels of 65 degrees and 67 degrees south. Ross discovered Victoria Land and in February 1841 sailed along its coast within sight of the high mountain ranges, 7,000 to 10,000 feet above the sea, as far as 78 degrees south. The mountain range here terminated in an active volcano, Mount Erebus, 12,000 feet in height. His farther progress was stopped by an icy barrier, 150 to 200 feet in height, along which he sailed to the east for 300 miles. The depth of this ice barrier was 260 fathoms. That's 1,560 feet. So how the fuck did they know that? What tape measure did they stick down there in the 1800s? And don't leave some comment. I understand that it's not. I'm just saying, like, come on, think about it. So that it was just in the condition to generate those large, flat-topped, tabular icebergs, which are the characteristic feature of the Antarctic regions. Where the coast is steep and high, there is no true ice barrier, the ice being only 6 or 10 feet above the sea, extending many miles from the shore. Till 1895, Ross and de Rouville alone succeeded in setting foot on land within the Antarctic Circle. This land was of volcanic origin, but there is no doubt a large extent of continental land around the South Pole, for the Challenger dredged up granites, mica schist, sandstones, and other continental rocks close to the ice barrier. Dr. Murray estimates the extent of the Antarctic continent at 3 million square miles. Vegetation was found on it in 1895. Land animals have not been seen. Okay, here's where it gets weird. Whales, grampuses, seals, penguins, petrels, albatrosses, and other oceanic birds around. Hold on, let me show you what a grampus is. So a grampus is a common offshore inhabitant of tropical and temperate ocean waters, a member of the dolphin family. So what on earth is a tropical dolphin type whale doing in Antarctica if it has always just been frozen ice, right? Like, you got to think about it. Diatoms are very abundant in the surface waters, and their dead frustules form a pure white deposit called diatom ooze about the latitude of 60 degrees outside the blue muds which surround the continent. Life is abundant in the surface waters and at the bottom of the ocean. The mean temperature both of the air and sea south of 63 degrees south is even in summer below the freezing point of seawater. Between 60 degrees and 63 degrees south, a sensible rise takes place. Temperatures as high as 38 degrees Fahrenheit being recorded both of sea and air in March. The Challenger found a cold layer of water sandwiched between a warm one on the surface and a warm one on the bottom. The surface layer was 37 degrees. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be 37.2 or if that means something else because there's all kinds of weird stuff. The cold layer at 80 fathoms was 32 degrees, 0.5. The temperature of the warm bottom layer was not accurately determined, but it was probably about 33 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't fucking say. Oh my God. It is remarkable that the bottom temperature at 50 degrees south, 33 degrees, I'm guessing the F is Fahrenheit, is little different from the bottom water all over the Indian and other oceans. The return currents of dense, warm tropical waters from the Indian, Atlantic, and Pacific Oceans, which run southward along the eastern shores of America, Africa, and Australia, sink on reaching a latitude from 45 degrees to 56 degrees south and flow north at the bottom to supply the loss of the tropics but to surface continents and evaporation, and south to supply the place of the ice cold water drifted northwards. The barometric pressure within the Antarctic regions appears to be low, considerably under 29 inches. The winds blow cyclonically in towards the pole from the Southern Ocean, carrying with them much moisture. The fall of rain and snow is estimated as about equal to the rainfall of 30 inches annually. All our knowledge of the Antarctic is confined to the summer months of December, January, and February. Of late, geographical societies have insisted on the desirableness of systematic Antarctic exploration. See Polar Exploration and works there cited. So it's other books, and I know I say it all the time, but God, I wish I had access to all these books. That would be awesome. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm going to do another video. I'll use the same comment, and we'll go over Antarctic continent in the encyclopedia from the 1920s.